As a salesperson or a business owner, can you use curiosity as a currency to get people's attention, get them to take action, and close more deals? I'm Sylvan Bell. I'm coming to you live from Sacramento, California on a perfect day to talk about sales and a perfect day to talk about business and curiosity as a currency on video number 1,900 on this YouTube channel. There's a few videos. Good for you to check out all of them. So here's the thing. As a salesperson or business owner, you should really start thinking about how can I use curiosity as a currency to get people to get their attention. Now, attention, if done right, equals the person spending some money and buying something from you. So I made a list of ways and ideas for you to create more curiosity in your business, in your sales message, or whatever you do. Now, the first thing is it's going to take some action from you. You're going to want to find some magicians. You're going to want to find some comedians or street performers and see what they do for their timing, for their conversations, how they interact with the crowd, and their ability to keep people engaged and watching, because there's a lot of similarities for business. There's a lot of similarities for your sales presentation. And here's the thing. People have a very short attention span. The average person watches a YouTube video for roughly about 2.5 minutes to about 3 minutes, and then they're done. And so what this means for you is you have a limited amount of time, small amount of time, for you to get people's attention and hold it and get for them to interact with you the right way. Okay, so the first thing is watch some magicians, street performers, comedians, and see what they do for timing and see how they keep a crowd engaged and see what you can pull from that and go, you know what, I could probably use that in my sales presentation. Okay, step number 2, do something unique that's not done in your industry. If you sound like everybody else, it's going to be really tough for you to build curiosity. Now remember, curiosity is currency, and if everybody else is doing it, it's got a low value. If you're the only person doing it and you're the only person doing it right, it's got a high value. Okay? The third thing that you can do is ask powerful questions. Now, one of the coolest things you need to know about a question is I can ask you a question and you don't have to answer it, but you have to think about it. So what did you do last night? Right? So you can have somebody go, well, why would you ask me that? Why are you intrigued by this? Why is that a question? So some of the things to be aware of is how you ask the question matters. You can create problems for yourself if you ask the wrong question. An interrogative question is who, what, when, where, why, and how. And so you can ask a who or a what question more than anything else is going to help you have something that's interesting and create some curiosity to use it for currency to have some attention. Okay? Number 4, you could tell an interesting story. Now I'm going to let you know I have sat through thousands of sales presentations, and most people do not know how to tell stories. They don't understand that there's got to be like a low level, it's got to come up to a peak, and there's got to be a resolution, but the story, the juice has to be worth the squeeze. So a lot of times I'll hear a story and the people just drag on and on and on, and the story is this big, and the action at the end isn't big enough to justify how big of a story it is. And a story should have a point. The story should have some sort of resolution. There should be some sort of hero in there. And typically, if there's going to be a hero, it's going to be the buyer or some way that your product, service, widget, or gizmo made the buyer the hero. Okay, so if you really want to tell an interesting story to use curiosity as a currency, these are some steps you're going to have to take. You're going to have to learn how to tell stories. I can't do that in just one video, okay? So number 5, give an amazing product demonstration. Now that's going to mean that you're going to have to keep the people engaged. You're going to have to know what you're talking about. You're going to have to remove all the filler words like the ums and the ahs, and you got to know what you're doing. This means that you're going to have to practice. And I will let you know that after working with as many salespeople as I have, most salespeople are lazy. They don't want to put in the work. They don't want to put in the effort. And I know that's not you. You're watching a video. You're learning how to get better. But the people that you think are your competition are not really salespeople. They're discounters and they're price matchers. And what happens is they run into their call. They do a show up and throw up presentation. I mean, they just... hopefully I can get somebody's attention. I'll give a quick discount. I'll give a quick price match, and I will get that person to buy. Okay? So number 5, give an awesome product demonstration. You're going to have to videotape yourself. You may have to pay people to watch you. But most salespeople aren't willing to put in the work and effort. The great news for you is when you look around, 80% of the world of sales should not be in sales. That means 8 out of 10 people that you look at as competition are not really your competition. It's really only 2. 2 people out of 10 are really your competition. And those 2 people, I guarantee you, are given an amazing product demonstration. They're just saying what needs to be said. They're doing what needs to be done. And it's creating curiosity because the buyer that you're meeting with and that they're meeting with is like, hey, how come everybody else wouldn't tell me this? How come everybody else wouldn't give me the truth? Right? And so what happens is anytime that you have a buyer say, look, I want to get 3 bids, or I'm gathering more information, it could be that the conversation wasn't compelling enough, they didn't trust the buyer, or there wasn't anything to be curious about. It sounded like everybody else. If you sound like everybody else in your sales presentation, it's going to come down to price. And everybody's like, well, I am a great salesperson and people love me. Well, congratulations, it's going to come down to price, okay? Number 6, use a product comparison. And you know, people love to see the teardown. People love to see what goes into a product. People love to see how a product is made. Look at all the shows like in the background, they show you how they make crowns, or they show you how they make candles. I mean, you know, you're dealing with wax, and people still watch those shows. People want to see products, how they're made, how they're torn down, and this is above and beyond your presentation. So if it's legal, I'm not an attorney, if it's legal and you can, get your competitor's product or service and do a teardown on it. Now, consult with an attorney, because I'm not, but a really good product comparison when you're like, this is my product, this is their product, this is how mine works, and this is how theirs work. It's not so good, okay? But once again, be careful, not an attorney. And then number 7, on how to use curiosity as a currency to gain attention, to close more deals. So here's the thing, have some compelling content. So there's lots of ways to have content out there. There is tons these days, okay? Let's just start with the beginning. You got videos. There's tons of different places for you to put out videos. It doesn't just mean like one platform. There's all sorts of places you can go. You can do articles. You can write articles. You can make sure that that article is awesome. Now, one of the things that I struggle with is spelling, so I give my article to people, and I'm like, hey, check this out, look for punctuation errors, and they're like circling with a red pen. It goes crazy, right? But you know, if you want to hold people's attention and curiosity, it's got to be something that's written well. You can use interviews. You can find some interviews from some people that are experts. You can find some interviews from people who've used your products as testimonials, right? An interview just doesn't mean like, hey, I'm going to interview somebody. An interview can be like, can you give me a testimonial about what's going on? Tell me about this product. Tell me about this service. Tell me about this widget, this gizmo. And the person can come back and say, hey, look, I love this product, this service, you know, and what you're doing is you're creating curiosity, because the person's like, well, wait a minute. I'm a buyer of this, and all these parameters fit for this person. Why wouldn't it work for me? Curiosity is a currency. From there, you can use it to hold attention, to make some sales and close some deals. Now, you know, there's lots of different ways to do this. You could use webinars. You can talk about everything that we talked about so far in this process wrapped up into one thing. You can do something unique. You can tell an interesting story. You can give a great demonstration. You could do a product comparison and throw it all into a webinar and do things that are going to hold people's attention. Like, hey, look, there's probably something that you picked up. I am certain at this point there's something that you picked up. Leave a comment down below how you can use curiosity as a currency to help close more deals. Now, one of the things that you're going to find is people do not want to talk about sales sabotage. And sales sabotage is when you know that you should do something and you know that you have the capability of doing it and you just don't do it. Now, when I ride co-pilot with salespeople, I get to sit there and watch and go, I know the sales training the person's had, I know what they're supposed to do, and they just don't do it. And so for you, there's plenty of things for your business, for your sales life, that you're just avoiding. The sales tips, the sales advice, the sales strategies and tactics, all those things combined, and you're sitting here and you're like, oh, I don't really want to deploy all those things because it's going to take time, energy, and effort. Okay, well, if that's the case, then you're going to end up like 80% of the other salespeople who are not really, I mean, they sell, but they don't make as much money as they could. And you know, I meet with salespeople and I'm like, shoot more video. And the salespeople are like, well, I don't want to do that because I don't like the sound of my voice. Well, you know what? If you're doing the same thing as every other salesperson, you're really going to struggle and you're not going to be able to close deals. And that's a problem, okay? So for you, learn how to use curiosity as a currency to get the attention of the people who are buying from you that want to make a purchase and go close some deals. Now you got one thing to do from here, just one thing. Find the subscribe button, click on it. And every time a video comes out, I'll say, Scott Bell Consultant sent out a video. You should watch it, which you should. We'll see you soon. Aloha.